Over 2,000 years ago, ancient Chinese scholars observed the changing patterns in our natural world, the climate, the turning of the seasons, and astronomy. The scholars measured and divided the sun's annual movements into 24 equal parts, creating the 24 solar terms, which were used to govern agriculture in ancient China. Even to this day, this invention still guides the lives and traditions of hundreds of millions of Chinese people. April the 4th heralds the brightest season and the start of Qingming solar term. Children play football and swing under the trees. Their parents eat cold food and walk up mountains to pay respects to their ancestors' graves. Most of the 24 solar terms are a cause for celebration, feasts, and fun. The Qingming festival is an exception, for this is the time when the Chinese people are meant to go back to their hometowns and remember their dead ancestors. I'm heading to a place called Maoshan, as I've heard their Qingming traditions are a little bit special. Right, well I've got my ticket and I'm ready for my journey. Maoshan is in Jiangsu province, an ancient town with 2,000 years of history. There are tons of waterways running through this place. The water system here is really well developed. Bright yellow rape flowers are planted on both sides of the river, and Qingming is the best season to see them. Maoshan town is not big. There are only about 30,000 people living here. But because of a mysterious traditional ritual during the Qingming festival, the town is stuffed to the rafters. To welcome the returners and visitors alike, the villagers are putting in a huge amount of time to get everything ready. 你知道怎么走？菜市场，你也去，我跟你一块儿去。好，别跑。Maoshan is a fascinating place, and each little village has its own public dining area. During the holiday season, villagers bring their favorite dishes to these areas to share with others. 好厉害! To fit in, I guess I also need to bring something. 这是草鱼，
这是花鱼。
花鱼。
谢谢，来了你买一包花鱼。
应该够了吧？够了，拜拜。Food is always the most important part of a Chinese gathering. According to local customs in Maoshan, dinner before Qingming festival is extraordinarily grand to encourage everyone to be as united as possible when carrying out Qingming traditions. It's quite a surprise to me, to be honest. Qingming, in my mind, has always been quite a solemn holiday in China, but in this case, everybody seems extremely happy, and this has left me a little confused. Now it's time to learn a little more about these activities. What exactly is going on in Maoshan? I need to find myself an influential local guy. Well, here's a list of people who donated money to the boat festival. At number 1 is my dear friend Erbao at 800 RMB. Erbao is a truly powerful local character here in Baoshan. Although he is only in his 40s, he is going to lead nearly 200 people into these Qingming festivities. Erbao, 你好。
你怎么来这么早？
就在忙是吧？
哎，在排队着。
你好。从路上过来的时候，已经看了有不少人已经奔这边走。
对啊，几万人呢。
几万人。
几万人。从我记事的时候，懂事的时候，就是这么多人。当心一点，这样啊。
Erbao says that Qingming in Maoshan is spent on boats. The boat is people's most important tool. So 2 weeks ago, Erbao began preparing his vessels. And this year, he's going all out with 2 extra dragon boats.
龙头、龙尾、龙段子，
这什么意思？在中国？
就是一条整龙嘛，皇权的象征嘛，龙。明天的话几百条船。
几百个？
对。
Erbao's home is on the riverbank, just a couple of 100 meters from where the boats will set off. Come on. It's the first time I've seen a dog that lives on the ceiling. Might mean that it's dangerous. Like most villages in China, most of the young people have left here to work in the big cities. Erbao, however, chose to stay at home. He is young and strong and wants to change things. He became a village leader, organizing the Qingming race. 这是什么东西？
这是河蚌，就是我们这个时间吃这个是最好最肥的。
就是清明。
哎，清明啊。
这就在这水里长的。
对，就是我们河里长的，肥得很。现在正是时候。
肥得很。
肥得很。
Mussels steamed with vegetables are a famous dish in Maoshan. The locals scoop the mussels up from the river outside their front doors. It must be great to gather your own ingredients and turn them into dishes just like that. In the past, the boat was the main means of transport. But as the town gets more developed, there are other ways of getting around. So the boat now is reserved for the Qingming festival. 看样子好吃。这个是刚才你弄的那个
河蚌。
河蚌。
哎，这是
凉粉。
凉粉。
这个是就清明节。
哎，对。
清明节期间吃。
哎，吃的。
你在活动期你负责什么呢？
我在船上是鼓手，击鼓，我领会他们一起划船。明天你就知道了，那个我们清明来的家家户户都出来的，参与这个活动的。
那清明啊，在这个地区算非常重要。
清明，这个我们是纪念阵亡的这些将士，无儿无女嘛，我们来纪念他们。早上祭祀。中午表演，就是大家在一起玩嘛。
你觉得清明好玩还是春节好玩呢？
清明好玩。
为什么？
因为有好多卖吃的，我特别喜欢吃。
是吧？你长大你也会像你爸一样去组织这个活动吗？
只要我有那个能力。
In most parts of China, Qingming is about remembering your own family ancestors. But here, it's about remembering forgotten soldiers. And this makes this place very different. 这每一本大概多少页呢？
这个一本大概有200张，它是10捆。好，再发到那打，来。
这也是钱。
就是过世的人，我们用的这个纸钱叫硬币，就是过去人他就是用银子的，这个就是代表银子那个印子打上去就是银子的。
The joss paper is one of the most important props used for tomorrow's ritual, and it's a strict tradition, so I really can't mess it up. I'm stamping this paper carefully as Erbao taught me, and I hope that everything goes well tomorrow. 这你小的时候一直在干这个事儿？
小时候，
小时候也是。
我父亲就小时候就看。
这你父亲？
对我父亲。
啊。
跟我们现在的银行的印刷机一样的。过去他不用人民币，过去他是用银子，所以我们把它敲一下，把它印在上面，敲成那个元宝，就是银元。这个明年去祭祀的时候要把它全部要烧干净。
对，干了。
那就是这村子里的人，如果去外边去打工，几乎都没，就是清明节都会回来。
都会回来的。
春节呢？
春节不一定，但是清明他回来的。
是吗？
对的，他回来要祭祖吧。
It's 5:30 in the morning, and I was woken up very early because today is Qingming. The villagers are all ready to go, to take part in the rituals to honor those who defended the homeland, the soldiers who died in war. Erbao says those graves have a history of up to 1,000 years. They're still well preserved, carefully looked after by the locals. When the 24 solar terms were originally created, the Qingming festival was known as the best time for going outside. Because starting from this solar term, the skies are clear and the weather warms up. That is, until more than 1,000 years ago, when it is said that the emperor decided the Qingming festival should be combined with sweeping graves and remembering lost ancestors. Maoshan is very different. Locals finish up their family ancestral duties ahead of time, so they are ready for their special activities. On the day of Qingming, they gather together, rowing all over the fields, burning offerings to those who defended their home, the dead souls of war. This custom has been inherited and passed down for more than 800 years. The boat is making its way down the river. My fleet has to go to 6 different points of worship, cleaning up weeds and making offerings. And now in Maoshan town, there are thousands of people who are just like us, rowing boats to different cemeteries that were built 1,000 years ago. The ritual sacrifice isn't half of it. After grave sweeping comes boat racing. Gathering in the center of town, this will be the climax of Maoshan's Qingming festival, and I'm going to do Erbao's job, leading the fleet.
敲一下，休一下啊，就这样，要停了，前面有船了，这样大家都停了。
哦，这个也是停的意思，也是开始。
也是这样的。
好。To get the boat started. I start with one of them. And then once we get going, I do this to keep the pace. And this is a great role for me on the drums, although a little bit nervous. This is going to be thousands of people watching, and I don't think they've seen a foreigner in this position before. 大家准备好了没有？出发！ The riverbanks are already crowded with people, and as a drummer, I have an important responsibility. It's Erbao's village, and it's his race. How can I live up to that? I can't let him down, so I'd better beat this drum as well as I can. This is not easy at all. There seem to be boats all around us that want to race, so we can't slow down. And as one gets close, we nod at each other, and the race is on. This race is not just about speed, but it's also about style and keeping the momentum of everybody rowing on the boat. Erbao tells me that we must row strong and fast to show the ancestors that we are having a great life. This is one of those memories in life that will be hard to share with others. Almost too much for the senses. The spectacular and the sacred all in one incredible event. The end of the ceremony follows the rules of the past. Everyone involved in this event gathers with food in the dining area, sharing a dinner. There are no sponsors here. Everything comes from the villagers, and it shows this incredible passion they have for community. In China, the concept of family is held with utmost importance. The tradition of tomb sweeping in memory of family ancestors is the very basis on which Qingming festival is formed and passed down through hundreds of generations. It's the only solar term with a national festival named after it, and ingrained in it are the collective memories of the Chinese people. It carries with it their passions and respect for their families and nation that have remained unchanged for thousands of years.